everybody, I'm author R.G. Long, and this is this week's writing tips. So if you watch my video at the beginning of the week, you can see that maybe my writing tip should really just be like write, like write some words. But hopefully by the time you're watching this on Friday, I will have gotten some words down. Like last week was just tough in trying to get the words down. Like I said, I'm a part-time author, and so because I'm a part-time author, you would think that I really need to plan more. So if you are an author and you've been around for a while, you know that there's the term between plotting and pantsing. And if you're new to the whole thing about plotting and pantsing, let me enlighten you. So basically there are two groups of writers when it comes to deciding how to begin writing your book. And there's one group that says you have to plot everything. And so they're the ones who plan out these massive arcs of stories that they're going to do and decide where, each character is going to be this and do this and become this. And, it sounds like a really great idea. You never have writer's block because you know what you're supposed to write. You know what the character arcs are going to be, all that kind of stuff. It's great. And then there's pantsing. And I think the pantsing idea, it really just kind of sounds like your pants are on fire and you're just like shooting from the hip. You don't know what's going on. You're just writing because the creative juices are flowing, and like all of a sudden your main character dies. And then you have to like back up a little bit and like make your main character not die and like figure out how to get it. And so all these different things. So there's these two groups: plotting, which is plotting everything out in advance and making sure you know exactly what's going to happen, and pantsing. And most of the time authors fall into two groups. Well, I am an author who loves a good outline. The book series that I'm writing right now, The Origins of Gilead, I actually outlined most of it before I finished my completed book series, Legends of Gilead. Authors, right? Like we can't just have like one project. We have to have like multiple things going at once. And so, while in the middle of writing book 9, I was like, but what if there were more books for me to write? So I had outlined all of my first 15 books, and then I was like, you know what I want to do? I want to outline more books. And so I did. I outlined some great books. And so really just by like hearing that, you would think that I'm a plotter, right? That I plot absolutely everything in my books down to the minutest of details. And you would be wrong, because I love a good outline, and I also love ignoring it. In fact, some of my favorite characters happened when I started writing when I didn't have a plan in mind at all. In fact, one of my favorite off-the-cuff characters is in book 4, I believe, and her name is Pumpkin. Pumpkin is an elf and she's crazy. And I decided that while I was writing my main story with my main characters, I was going to have these side characters going on, and I wasn't going to plan or outline one bit of what Pumpkin and her friends, Lincoln and Bernard, if I'm remembering correctly, were doing. All I knew was that Pumpkin was crazy, Lincoln was a guy who thought he was going to be a big hero and talked a big game but was really kind of a wimp, and Bernard was just a very large man who wrote poetry. And that was it. And all of the main ideas of the book were happening like around them, but I had no plot for them whatsoever. And honestly, those 3 characters were a blast to write. So I love a good outline, but also I really love ignoring it. I guess the question is, what gets words down? If you're an author and you feel like if you were to write out an outline and then stick to that outline religiously, that it would like the idea of having that outline would just restrain your creativity so much that you wouldn't be able to write, well then it sounds like you really shouldn't outline. It sounds like you should pants some more and really just get some words down on the page. On the other end, if the idea of having an outline absolutely motivates you to write and it's what gets you going, and the idea of not having an outline would paralyze you, then you should totally outline some books. Now, the great thing about outlining is you don't necessarily need to plan every single detail. The question is, what gets words down? For me, when I start writing a book, I need to know what's going to happen in the beginning, the middle, and the end. And so I have a paragraph or so to that effect when I sit down to write the books. And sometimes when I'm planning out some chapters and writing them, I'll write another line or two for each chapter about what's supposed to happen, until I blow it up. Because sometimes when I'm writing the end of the chapter, I go, but what would happen if? And honestly, that's a lot of fun for me. So sometimes plotting really helps me get the words down, and sometimes pantsing is really fun and creative for me, and I enjoy that too. So really, I guess what I'm saying is I follow my plan. And I know what I'm going to do with my plan because I know how my 15 books are going to go. I know my main characters, I know who's going to live and who's going to not, and then I also know like what their bigger, larger stories are going to be, their character arcs. I know what the big bad is, I know how they're going to eventually take down this big bad and how it's going to set up some other things. So I'm really following along with my plan. Unless I get stuck. And then I might blow up my plan for a little bit and just go wild or invent some new characters or have something happen off in maybe like a side quest that doesn't necessarily get us to the end of the book necessarily, but helps the characters grow in such a way, or really just helps me get the writing juices flowing. Then maybe that's what I'm gonna do, because that's what's a lot of fun for me, and that's what allows me to keep putting words on the page. So, question is, what about you? Maybe think of it not so much as plotting versus pantsing, but think of it more of like a spectrum, right? That there's this big, wide pendulum that can swing and be fluid, and whatever season of writing you're in, that's what you should do for. And so if plotting is really going to get your words down this season, absolutely do it. If plotting it out is actually what's keeping you from writing and you just want to write to get the words down, then pants for a little while. What gets the words down? And you might understand this too. What do your readers respond to? What do your readers say is your best work? Is it when you've plotted everything out, or is it when you don't have a plan at all? Doing that and getting reader feedback from that is going to be fantastic, and it'll really help you out in knowing what's best for you and what helps you get the words down. Hey, I'm author R.G. Long. These are my writing tips. I'm not a fantastic author, but I am writing books. And so if you want to know what those books look like, check out the description below. I've got lots of links to my Amazon store and things that are going on there. I've also got some things that you can follow me on social media. Should definitely do that. Do me a favor, if you're an author, comment down below. What is the thing that helps you get the words down? Is it writing the books? Is it plotting them? Is it pantsing? What do you find works best for you, and what advice would you give to other people? I really enjoy doing these videos where I get to offer up just a little bit of authorly wisdom, and if you've got a question that I can answer, let me know. I'd love to tackle it for you. I'm author R.G. Long. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, enjoy the journey.